Did you know that 10% of college-age suicides are by student athletes? Being having gone through a poor time of having poor mental state, I know the struggles of trying to wake up every day and get out of bed and um, go out and go to school and go to practice. It's a struggle, and the toughest thing to do is try and wake up and change how you feel and try and put a smile on your face. So, with that, I think that a sports psychologist should be mandatory for every advanced athletic team, starting with high school on up. Um, Many questions are asked, like, what is a sports psychologist? What was having a sports psychologist look like? And what advantages would having a sports psychologist have? And the effects that having a sports psychologist would have on a student athlete. So, starting off first, what is a sports psychologist? A sports psychologist is a professional psychologist who also has had experience and possibly a degree, or has taken classes or boards to get multiple looks at things like kinesiology, and has really also studied the not only the mind but also movements of the body to know what a student athlete is going through. So while having one of these, they would be considered a part of the training staff. Having a training staff with addition to a sports psychologist would they would be separate, but in some ways they would also be together. So what would it look like to have a sports psychologist to go to as a student athlete? So depending on how your specific sports psychologist sets it up, you would have a office or a room or some type of space put away for your sports psychologist to be in. So you, ahead of time, depending on how you do it, privately you would set up an appointment, or you would have walk-ins to go and have an appointment to talk to the sports psychologist. Because of personal and private reasons, you would meet, and then everything would be documented, and then whatever that looks like, your sports psychologist would do their best to help you and help you get over mentally what you are struggling with, or what's on your mind, or what you basically need help with, and that could look like anything. So the effects of having a sports psychologist would be humongous on a college athlete. Personally, my whole senior year of high school basketball, I had some things happen in my life, and mentally I just wasn't there. So I believe that if I would have at the time talking to a sports psychologist, I could have exceeded the point of the level of play I was at. Even considering myself personally, I think I had a successful year. I think I could have done better if I would have talked to someone. So that's just an example personally what it would look like. So like that. Not saying I was a top player in high school, but so say your top player is, you can tell something's up and they're not performing how they usually do. With having a sports psychologist, they would go and they could approach them, or your coach could approach them and refer them to your sports psychologist. So they would go in, set an appointment, go in and talk about it. So say they had a death in their family and they were close to the person who passed away, they would go and talk to them and clear up their brain pretty much. Just not worry about sports or school or anything, just go and talk to the sports psychologist, and that could help them get back to where they were, and in some cases that could even bring them from here all the way up to here in their athletic level wise. They could take them to a new level and make them even better of an athlete and even a person mentally as they were. So we talked about what a sports psychologist is, what having a sports psychologist would look like, being on the team, and what the effects of talking to a sports psychologist and having someone there to talk to would look like. Many people experience mental health. Everyone has mental health, and some is better than the others, but some people have negative things that happen in their life that negatively affect their mental health. Professional athletes have sports psychologists that they talk to frequently. I've heard of multiple top class athletes from like Trevor Bauer to LeBron James to Michael Lorenzen, and they all talk to, it's two baseball players and one basketball player at a professional level that talk to sports psychologists. Whatever that looks like for them could be completely different or it could be the same to you, but there's benefits to having a sports psychologist, and personally I think that if you have a sports psychologist and you're struggling with something and go talk to them, it could help you, it could help prevent something negative from happening. And that negative thing could look like suicide, or it could look like alcohol or drug abuse. And growing up and throughout your life, at any time, that's the last thing that anyone should want. So, as I said, I do believe that every team, athletic team from high school up, should have a sports psychologist at their at their fingertips if needed.